Welcome to the review and preview problems in the CCG book, Chapter 9, numbers 68 through 74. 968 says, examine the diagram of ABC below. A, if opposite sides of the quadrilateral are parallel and all sides are congruent, what type of quadrilateral is ABCD? And that would be a rhombus. List what you know about the diagonals of ABCD. Well, we know a rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular, and we also know that they intersect at each other's midpoints. So on our diagram, we know that A and C are congruent and B or D are congruent because this is the midpoint of each of those line segments. They also bisect our angles, so we know that those angles are congruent. Letter C says, find the area of ABCD. If BC equals 8, and the measure of angle ABC is 60 degrees. So when we're finding the area, if we know that BC is 8, and we know that this angle, half of it would be 30 degrees, we can use the cosine of 30 degrees to find the adjacent side over our hypotenuse, which is 8, which the side adjacent is next to. So when we multiply that, we get approximately 6.9. The opposite side, we can use the sine of 30 degrees is equal to the opposite side over 8, which is 4. So to find the area of one of these triangles, we could do the base times the height divided by 2, which is 6.9 times 4 divided by 2, which is approximately 13.8. But then we have 4 triangles. So when we multiply that by 4, we get an area of approximately 55.2 units squared. 9-69. A butterfly house at a local zoo is a rectangular prism with the dimensions of 20 by 15 by 10 and contains, so 20 by 15 by 10, and contains 625 butterflies. Sketch the prism on your paper, so we've done that to the right. What is the volume of the butterfly house? So 20 times 15 times 10 gives us 3,000 feet cubed. How many cubic feet of air is there for each butterfly? So if we take the 3,000, divide that by our 625 butterflies, we get approximately 4.8 cubic feet of air per butterfly. D, density, is the quantity of something per unit measure, especially length, area, or volume. For example, you might talk about the density of birds on a power wire. Maybe a flock lands with 7 birds per meter. Population density. The density of Singapore is 7,301 people per square kilometer. Or the mass density of an element. Iron has density of 7.874 grams per centimeters cubed. Assuming the butterflies are equally distributed inside the butterfly house, what is the density of butterflies? So we want to take our total amount of butterflies, which is 625. We want to divide that by our 3,000 cubic feet, which tells us we have approximately 0.21 butterflies per cubic feet. 9-70. Use the relationship given in the diagram below to write and solve an equation for x. Show all of your work. So we have two parallel lines, and we have two angles that are alternate interior angles, so we know that those angles are equal. So we can set 4x minus 5 equal to 2x plus 9. Solve using inverse operations. Two x is equal to 14. Divide by 2. We get x is equal to 7 degrees. 9-71, for each pair of triangles below, determine if the triangles are congruent. If they are congruent, state the congruency property that assures their congruence and write a congruence statement such as triangle ABC is congruent to triangle blank. So when we look at letter A, we have triangle ABC and triangle EDF. So looking at the angles inside, 180 minus 62 minus 48 is definitely 70 degrees. So our angles are congruent, but looking at our sides, more specifically the sides in between the 62 degrees and the 70 degrees, the ratio does not equal 1, so these are not congruent. Looking at letter B, we have triangle BAC and triangle BDC. So BDC and triangle BAC. We know that these triangles have congruent sides or hypotenuse. We know they both have a congruent angle. And we know that this side is a shared side. So we can say that these two triangles are absolutely congruent. And we know that because of hypotenuse leg congruency theorem. Letter C, we have triangle ABC and we have triangle KMLK, excuse me. And if you flip this triangle around starting with the M, go down to L and K, you see that the sides all are equivalent, so we can say that these triangles are congruent based on the side congruency theorem. 9-72 says write the equation represented by the table below. So we know that our starting value is at -2. We want to look at how our x and our y values are changing. So we can see our x values are adding 1. Our output values, we can see are adding 6 each time. So because we're adding, we know it's linear, which is y equals mx plus b. For our m, we want to do our change in y over our change in x. So our slope is 6 over 1x plus our starting value, our initial value at 0, is -2. 9-73, this is a checkpoint problem for finding probability. Because students complained that there was not enough choice in the cafeteria, the student council decided to collect data about the sandwich choices that were available. The cafeteria supervisor indicated that she makes 36 sandwiches each day. Each sandwich consists of bread, a protein, and a condiment. 12 of the sandwiches were made with white bread, 24 with whole grain bread. Half of the sandwiches were made with salami, and the other half were evenly split between turkey and ham. 2/3 of the sandwiches were made with mayonnaise, and the rest were left plain with no condiments. Organize the possible sandwich combinations of bread, protein, and condiments by making an area model or a tree diagram if possible. So when we think of our bread choices, we have white bread or grain bread. We know that she said 24 pieces were made with whole grain bread and 12 were made with wheat. So white. 1/3 of our sandwiches were white and 2/3 of our sandwiches were made with grain bread. We then know our choices for protein were salami, turkey, and ham. And then we know that they were either plain or had mayo on them. So this is a tree diagram. If you're more comfortable with the area diagram, you're more than welcome to use that. So we know that half of the sandwiches were made with salami, and the other half were turkey and ham. So we get 1/2 and 1/4 for those ratios. We know that 2/3 of the sandwiches were made with mayo, and 1/3 were made plain. When we multiply all of those straight across to get the probability of a sandwich with white bread, salami, and mayo, we get 2 out of 18. White, salami, and plain, 1 out of 18. 2 out of 36. 1 out of 36. 2 out of 36 are white ham and mayo. 1 out of 36 are white ham and plain. 4 out of 18 are grain, salami, and mayo. Plain would be 2 out of 18. Remember, you're multiplying straight across denominators and numerators. And we just completed our tree diagram. Wade likes any sandwich that has salami or mayonnaise on it. Which outcomes are sandwiches that Wade likes? If Wade randomly picks a sandwich, what is the probability that he will get a sandwich that he likes? Hint, you can use W and G to abbreviate the breads, then S, T, and H for the proteins, and MP. So we have white bread, salami, and mayo, which happens 2 out of 18. We have white bread salami plain, 1 out of 18. White bread turkey mayo, white bread ham mayo, grain salami mayo, grain salami plain, grain turkey mayo, grain ham mayo. So we got 2 out of 36, 2 out of 36, 4 out of 18, 2 out of 18 chance for this one, 4 out of 36, 4 out of 36. So when we add all these together, we get 30 out of 36. Make sure you find a common denominator, which is approximately 83.3% of the time he gets the sandwich that he would like. Madison does not like salami or mayonnaise. Which outcomes are sandwiches that Madison likes? If Madison picks randomly, what is the probability she will get a sandwich that she likes? So we have white turkey plain, white ham plain, green turkey plain, grain ham plain. So we have 2 out of 36, 2 out of 36, 1 out of 36 plus 1 out of 36 equals a 6 out of 36 chance, which is approximately 16.7%. You could have also figured that out by taking 100% and subtracting what Wade likes, 83.3%, which would have given you approximately 16.7% because she did not like the things that Wade liked. Which outcomes are in the event for the intersection of salami and mayonnaise? So we have white bread, salami and mayonnaise, or we could have grain bread, salami and mayonnaise. Multiple choice. 974. Which net below will not produce a closed cube? So if you fold your net, which one will not produce a cube? A will produce a cube. C will produce a cube. D will also produce a cube. But because these are on the same side, B will not produce a cube.